Hi folks, today we're going to take a look at the replicated license and the way that you can use that license and entitlements within that license to represent what's important to your business model and your application. We're going to do this in the context of the Slacker News application, which is something you can think of as Hacker News driven by your internal Slack team. So if we were Slacker News, one of the things we might want to do is base our business model around licensing the number of users that are in the Slack team. So let's look at how Slacker News would accomplish this within the replicated platform. First of all, they would go to the license fields area in the replicated vendor portal, and they would set up a license field. You can see I've got this one here already. It is member count max. I'm just going to click the edit button here, and you can see it has sort of an internal name. It has a visible name that'll show in the license and on the license setting screen. I can require this field. I can hide it. I give a default value, and there's different types I can have here. So Slacker News has set this up, and then when we go look at an individual customer, we can see this customer Knitflex. We can look at the details of their license, and we can see they've been assigned the default. Maybe they, if they were to upgrade, perhaps maybe they upgrade, we bump this up to 500, but let's leave it at that 100 right now. And take a look at some of the things that we can do with that. First of all, we can send up custom metrics around that count. So the telemetry that Replicated provides by default is basically focused around, the type of cluster your customer's running in and the various, states of it. And are they running your current version? Is the application up and running? Just lets you understand sort of the life cycle and success that they're having with your application. But you can also send custom metrics. We should really think about this not as like hardcore performance metrics, but metrics that are there for helping you understand what's going on in your relationship with your customer. And their license entitlements are a great metric for you to be keeping track of, because it gives you a chance to, first of all, understand compliance, and second of all, go out and talk with them around making sure that they are licensed at the right level for your application. So Slacker News is sending a metric for both the daily user count and the monthly user count. And you can see these metrics are coming in fairly frequently. I'll explain that in a minute. And so we're getting a good picture of exactly where they are. I can even turn on some notifications here and send a notification in Slack every time that changes. So if I pop over here, I'm going to bring Slack over onto this same screen here, and you can see I get an event over here every time that changes. So I'll let that drop into the background because it's going to take a couple of minutes for it to get called and then the event to get sent over there. So this is sort of a great way for you to get a perspective on it, but you probably also want your customer to get a perspective on where they are in terms of their license, because customers generally want to be compliant with all of their licenses. So let's jump over to the customer view here. I'll jump over to another desktop, and you can see, first of all, I've set up an alert in Prometheus to identify when I am over on my license. And you can see right now, I've got user count exceeds entitlement, an active alert, because the value is 119, which is up above the license entitlement. So your customer can then route this the way they route other alerts in their environment and get notified when they are out of compliance with their license to your application. The other thing we can do is we can give them a nice dashboard in Grafana that can help them see sort of how they're doing with their licensed users. You can see over the time period I'm looking at here, the last 15 minutes, they've been up and down a little bit in terms of users. That's because this is simulated data. I don't think they'd be having the number of users in their Slack team change quite that frequently, but they can see that they have been consistently up above. And again, this can initiate a conversation with you about coming back into compliance with your license. Just a couple other things to show you on this dashboard while we're here. I took some of the other information that you're able to get from the Replicated SDK, and I also exposed that to them. So this gives them a nice way of looking at sort of what's going on with whether you have new releases, for example, of your application, whether they're on the current version, when the version that they're using was released, when they upgraded to it, any available new releases. You can see there's a new release here, so they can go out and do an install. Now, for customers that are using the embedded cluster, or they've installed with COTS into an existing cluster, some of this information is already available in that admin console. But for customers who are installing with Helm, this sort of becomes that dashboard that can help them understand information about sort of where they are within in terms of your releases and whether they're up to date, and et cetera. In addition to that licensing information. So this is a neat little dashboard. We'll be making it available in the Slacker News Git repository for you to take advantage of all those things in your own application. So let me just jump back over here real quick. You can see we did start getting alerts here from the replicated notifications to tell me that this particular customer is up above or where they are, and I know they're up above their entitlement because I am familiar with their license. And so, again, it can help me initiate a conversation on my side to make sure that they come into compliance. So that's all I wanted to show you today. Again, this is all going to be part of the Slacker News application, which is on GitHub, and you can just search for it, and you can see how I made this happen. Thanks a lot.